So we mentioned this in the last episode, which was Orvis Spa.
Orvis Spa.
Not an official sponsor, but we did go there.
But it could be.
But they could be.
Right.
Karen told us about Orvis Spa.
Right.
And she was like, yeah, there's this wonderful hot springs. You should go there. We looked it up. It's clothing optional.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it was. I mean, when I saw that, I was like, oh, great. Perfect. Fantastic. What were your feelings about that in that moment?
All of the feelings of Catholic shame just rushed into my brain.
Catholic shame.
Catholic shame. It's a real thing. It's
I was born and raised Catholic.
I definitely was like, oh, okay. I guess this is a thing. I guess this is a thing we're going to do. I guess this is a thing we're going to do together. And just, and
whatever. Right.
Yeah.
So.
And whatever.
I mean, at that moment, I was just sort of like, well, I, for a long time, had a lot of just self-consciousness about my own body.
Mm-hmm.
And then just, slowly over time, not that I'm like fully the most confident in every situation, but I was just like, you know what? It'll be a relaxing place. That doesn't bother me.
Yeah. It's also like live your life,
Live your life.
An asteroid could hit us at any moment.
Right.
Have another piece of cake.
Also,
go
thank
nude
you,
at the spa.
Puritans, for making us feel like nudity
shame.
is this thing that we should be shameful for.
But not violence.
Not violence.
You can decimate an entire people through legitimized genocide, but don't be naked while you do it. It's okay. Seriously, though.
And so going to this place was the thing getting us through, finishing the Tomichi Point route.
Right.
And that is what today's episode is all about.
Looking for adventure, I wanna follow on the trail, or get a little lost and let the wind fill my sails. Get up when the stars still fill the sky, don't wake the sun. There's so much to be done, and the day has just begun. Go where the postcards are real, you can feel, you can open your eyes and open your heart when you gaze at the national park.
Follow you
At the national park. At the national park. Follow you, I'll follow you there.
So last we met, we had just finished the Tomichi route on our descent.
The Tomichi route is a wilderness route in Black Canyon of the Gunnison National Park near Montrose, Colorado. It is 1 mile in distance. It is a vertical drop of 1,960 feet. It says it'll take about 2 hours to descend and about 3 to 4 hours to ascend. How long did it take us to descend?
About 2.5 hours.
Yeah, it was about that when we were making our way down.
Yeah.
But now we had to make our way up.
Right. So after sitting for quite some time at the river, kind of taking in everything, fueling up with food, we were ready to kind of make our way back up the ascent, which I think both gave us pause because of how treacherous we knew this was going to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
I honestly did not. I was like, can't we just stay here?
Right. Forever. We live here now.
There was like a small period of time where I was like, do you think we could get to the road?
Oh, you mean if we walked along the canyon?
Yeah. Like if we walked along the river and we got to the road.
To East Portal Road?
To East Portal Road.
Oh,
I know.
What? But, you didn't tell me that. That was like crazy brain.
No, I looked at the map and it would have added a lot of distance. Like it would have been a longer trek, and it would have taken longer than ascending back on Tomichi Point.
Things you never told me.
Well, Secrets and Lies. There you go. I did think about that.
The title of your autobiography.
I learned it from you.
I killed JFK. I was the second gunman on the grassy knoll. Anyway.
Oh, girl, you went there.
I did.
Dark
I
times.
know. Dark times these are. But after sitting for a while and really kind of recharging, we were ready to make our move back up. At this point, our hiking pals had already ascended. They had already started their trek, probably about 10, 15 minutes ahead of us.
Right.
Because they had reached the base, the bottom of the river, much quicker than we had because we had let them pass earlier on our descent. So they were already well started. This was, a point for us to really kind of take things slow. I think we were both tired at this point. We were trying to summon the strength from within us. But basically, at this point, we had to kind of make our way through some very awkward bouldering.
We did. I have to say, the thing that was giving me a little hope was this.
Was the spa.
Well, certainly going to the spa at the end of it. But the professional climber that we talked to yesterday who was like, yeah, it only took me like 45 minutes. And I was like, maybe if we just really focus and like are strategic, like it honestly won't take us that long.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Lies.
I mean, certainly. But that is what I was thinking at this time.
I mean, that's a great thought to have.
It is.
Right.
It is. So is,
Put it in your hand with your hopes and your dreams.
I will.
Carry it with you.
And I will bake it into cookies with flowers.
Yeah.
Because I have a lot of feelings.
You do.
She doesn't even go here.
Yeah, it's true. So the start of the ascent was just very awkward sort of bouldering and climbing things and we took a different route through the ascent than we had come down. We didn't go back through the trees. We figured that there was an actually easier way that was clearer to kind of get back up. So we were able to kind of climb over some boulders before we hit more of the major scree and everything else that was to follow.
And what became very clear very early on is that this was going to be an ascent that was going to require our hands and feet the entire time.
A true scramble.
A true scramble.
Right, because that's typically what you're doing is using your hands and your feet.
That incline is like, I don't know, what would you say the degree is?
I don't even know. It was crazy. It was
it wasn't 90 degrees, but it could have been like 75 degrees, like the whole way.
Like 80? I don't know.
Something like that. Yeah. Probably closer to 80 degrees. Yeah. And so, hands and feet the whole time.
Yeah.
Now, the rock that we were on, yes, it was scree rock, but there were two kinds of scree rock, essentially. There was the scree rock that we came down on, which was like gravel, which is a bunch of tiny rocks. And then over to, now that we're looking up, over to the left was all the big rocks, right? Now,
and some actual in-place boulders. There were like some very
There were about 3.
That's a lie. There were more than that.
There were, okay, fine. There were 4. I hesitate to even use the word stationary to describe any of the rocks on this route at all. So let us not describe them as stationary, David, unless they have earned that title.
Yeah, there we go, Moira.
So you and I were like, we get past the bramble down near the river.
Yeah, which we didn't even deal with the worst of it.
You could think of this route in like 4 parts. You've got the bramble at the top, flat rock, which I would say is like the transition between the bramble and the scree rock. Then you have the scree rock, which is honestly like 75% of the whole thing. And then you have the bramble at the bottom.
Right.
So we had just come up the bramble at the bottom and we're like looking essentially at the like, okay, here is this like giant
3/4 of the way up.
3/4 of the way up, this leg of this trail. The park ranger had said, be careful going back up because people get lost. And I was like, that's
not a thing.
That's crazy because it's like you just came down this like one area
that's wide open.
It's wide open, and then you turn around and you go back. I mean, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing. Yeah, essentially right here. So we're looking at the scree rock, and we were like, okay, we cannot go up the gravel.
Yeah,
you can't go up scree. Luckily, they have all these larger boulders, which you have described as stationary occasionally, which I would not at all. Okay. So we start going, and at first, you were in front of me, and I was behind you. And immediately I was like, nope, stop. I'm coming up next to you. we cannot go one in front of another.
Right.
Because the boulder will like get loose, hit us in the head and death. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So,
or any of the loose scree that just happened to be on the bigger rocks. Too.
Right.
Just,
So we were like, we have to be parallel the entire time.
Right.
Like, and to prevent even the idea of like a rock going behind us, like and hitting us at all, it was like, we're going to have to stay neck and neck the entire time.
Yeah.
And we made that agreement right then.
Yeah.
So I said, let's do this game I play when I run marathons, which I haven't in a long time, but which was you just pick a point that's maybe like 15 feet from where you are, like a completely achievable point.
Right.
And then you go to that point.
Right.
Once you're there, you pick a new extremely achievable point, because you can run 15 feet. You can absolutely run. And there's I'm not going to make a promise to myself that I'm going to run again after I make it to that 15 feet. I will try to run again after I make it to that 15 feet. Right. And like, that's the game I have to play with myself when I'm running long distances like that. So I was like, okay, great. Let's just go. Let's just make choices together about where we're going next. Like we started and we were like, okay, we're going to go to that boulder, which is honestly 12 feet away.
Right.
And then we would like
scramble climb
spiders all the way up to this one boulder. Yeah. And then we would get there and then we would like take a break for like 15, 30 seconds. And then somebody would go, okay, the next spot is that one.
Yeah.
And then we did that.
We kind of raced a little bit too, I would say.
We kind of, a little bit in like a safe way. There was nothing.
Safe racing.
There was no sort of like competition by any means.
Though
with
I'm
everything, everything with you is competition.
That's right.
I'm not competitive at all in any kind of way. Nothing about me is competitive. Nothing.
You're the most
I'm the one
passive,
who said that first.
Like wet blanket I've ever known.
Precisely.
One thing I do remember is that scrambling up was more fun. Like I enjoyed that a lot, and B, a lot easier. So when I was thinking, oh, this guy did this in 45 minutes. Yeah, I could see that.
Oh, I
do feel like we were flying.
We were flying for a long time.
Yeah.
Like after like the fifth or so, like we did that like in like 5 minutes.
Right.
We were like,
and we were checking time.
And we were checking time, and we were both like, oh, this is going really great.
Also, but then we were like, oh, this thing called like understanding distance.
Oh, right. That too.
Lies. We were doing great in our minds, guys.
We were doing great in our minds.
Yeah.
But we kept going and we kept going and we kept going, and we finally made it back to that tree.
Yes, we did. That big old tree.
And that is where we took
another break.
And with that, let's actually take our first break.
Let's play Rhyme Time, Dusty.
Let's do it.
Great. Ready?
I'm ready.
This would be a very tired hypothesis.
Oh, like a distressed guess?
No, it's a weary theory.
Oh, I like that. Okay, great.
This
would be a Catholic church service led by a drag queen.
A yas mass.
I'll take that. I was thinking a sass mass.
Okay.
But yeah, great.
This is a very nice wall covering that I apply with a brush.
Is paint one of the words?
Very nice.
Quaint paint.
That's right.
This is what you have if you're sick with something that's terrible but really not clear.
Is ailment one of the words?
No. It's a vague plague.
Oh, a vague plague. Okay. It's an unclear. This is the pain you would get when you try to turn on the light.
A switch twitch.
Oh, I like that. I was looking for lamp cramp.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
This is the act of hurrying yourself and others to a lowland prairie.
Is rush one of the words?
No.
I don't know.
I'm really proud of this one. It's a basin hasten.
Oh, hasten thee to the basin. Okay, this is what happens when your dog urinates all over town.
When your dog urinates all over town.
I mean, it could be you too, but I was
I
trying to
don't
take it
know.
away from you.
I don't know.
It's a peace spray.
A peace spring. All right. This is the stream around a castle.
This is a nice follow-up to peace spray.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the stream around a castle when it is filled with this horned farm animal.
Goat moat.
Correct.
This is the self-immolation of the singers that back up the cantor in church.
Is one of the words chorus?
It's not chorus, but it's a derivative of chorus.
Choir?
Mm-hmm.
What is what the self
Immolation. If you immolate yourself.
Is that to lower yourself or to raise yourself? To
set yourself ablaze.
it's a fire choir. I was thinking fire choir.
Or
Okay,
a choir
great.
fire. Yeah.
Right. Angel's Landing would be considered this to my fear of heights versus a diving board.
A height plate?
Oh, good guess. I was thinking bigger trigger.
Oh, okay.
And there we go.
There we go. Rhyme time.
That was rhyme
Some were
time.
good, some were bad. There was everything in between.
Okay, so we've been hiking our way back up for how long?
40 minutes now.
Okay, 40 minutes, but like
I think
We
close to
must-
halfway up.
we must be at halfway, which took us essentially half the time of going down.
Yeah. It was about 2.5 hours going down. So an hour and 3/4. It would be our better halfway point. And now we're at 40 minutes and we're probably halfway up.
Yeah. We're doing it in small bursts, like about 20 feet at a time. We'll say like, okay, from here we're going to that rock, or from here we're going to that tree or that bush. And that has been working out because that's what I used to do when I would run marathons, is I'm like, I just have to run to like that spot 10 feet away from me. And then I'll pick another spot 10 feet away from me because I can't definitely run 10 feet.
Yeah. It has been a lot of fun. This is like, I feel like this is more of the scramble of it because we literally are hands and feet at some points, just like kind of like mountain climbing our way up to the top.
Literally. So we're definitely getting our gym exercises for the month today. So we're going to keep going. Though tiring, I was definitely more excited in this moment on our way back up because it wasn't taking us long. And I felt like the agony was manageable. You know what I'm saying?
The manageable agony.
Well, yeah. They always say pain is inevitable and misery is the choice. That is what that's like something they put all over running stuff.
Oh,
you know,
that makes me
that's
just
the live, laugh, love of running.
Platitudes that make me want to throw up and die.
Right, exactly.
Right.
But I was
thank
thinking
you.
about that right now. I'm like, okay, well, this pain is unavoidable.
Right.
But I can either choose excitement here because of, the pace at which we're doing it, or I can choose misery. So,
which is your usual day to day.
Right. I was
Excitement wins for once.
generally speaking, like I was definitely like on the uptick of positivity when it came to this route.
Well, also, I think there was something to be said for climbing up versus like, oh God, look at this impending death below us. Like, it's like, oh, there's only up to go. We can only go up. Don't turn around though. Don't look back because that's a bad idea.
It's
And
only up from here.
that I think I did 1 or 2 times and I was like, oh,
No.
that
Things
was a
I did not
bad
do.
thing to
I do have to say my
You were like Orpheus until the end.
my fear of heights, not so bad this whole time.
Yeah.
Really not. And then on the way up, I didn't turn around and
It
look
was
back.
for the best because
You were like, just don't. Just
don't do it. After we left the tree, we were able to kind of reconnect and see our hiking friends ahead of us. So they were at quite a distance. The tree is about our halfway point here, which is what we kind of used as our gauge on the way down. So that's what we were kind of thinking our upward tick would be also. We could see these hiking gals like way ahead of us at this point. We're like, oh, there they are. We could kind of see them below too at the tree, but because of the way that, we had mentioned like a 75 to 80 degree like uptick.
You couldn't see all of them
the way. No,
but
there
you
were,
could see a few of them.
Yeah, you could see a few of them in the distance.
We liked that because it was like they were elegantly finding their way back up, and we could just sort of continue to follow them. It was.
We also saw people coming down too.
We did, which I felt was. I was like,
it was like 1 o'clock. I would say, like,
yeah, it was
maybe like
I would
1,
not
2 o'clock.
Want to be out here in the dark. No,
we just knew how long we were taking our way down, and for them to be going down, I was like, good luck, everybody, because it was still early in the year. I mean, I think it was daylight savings time was past at this point. So,
right.
And the day was very sunny at first, but eventually what happens is it starts to get very cloudy and a lot kind of cooler, because I think most of the hike we're hiking in like t-shirts and pants.
Yeah.
Pants were a good idea because
pants were a very good idea.
Your legs. Just
think of your legs. I was in tights.
Yeah.
I was in tights for
But
this
I think I was in a t-shirt for most of the hike. Like once we really started going, I had like disrobed my sweatshirt.
That was when you were practicing your strippings.
That's right. Listen, I had to be ready for later at the spa.
Right.
So I was just doing a routine on the rocks. We just continue to hike and we continue to play Dusty's game, which honestly was like probably the most fun part of this, was like just having a game to play, and that game of like, okay, we're going to meet at that rock next. And it was like, we'd call it back and forth and be like, no, not that one. No, the one to the left of that. You see that one that looks like a witch's nose? Yeah, you're going to that rock.
Because as we would do it, and we would be like, okay, we can go a little bit further this time.
Right.
Or like, let's really push ourselves and like actually go all the way to there.
Right.
You know, we would do that.
You're still on scree, so as much as you're on the bigger boulders, there's still times where you're passing like these points that are scree fields. There's also some like kind of, I do remember there being, even on the way back down, like even though you're at a very extreme angle, there's still some like kind of paths that are through the scree, like where you're not necessarily surfing down the scree on an angle. You're like, oh, I'm level for a little bit, and this is like a little ledge that I can like walk along.
A very little bit.
Oh, a very little bit.
A very little bit.
No, it wasn't anything that was like going to give you substance by any means.
The thing about the big boulders was that while some of them were fairly stable, there was still something very just unstable about them. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you could step on a large rock the wrong way and it could just go flying down into the canyon. I did not want to create that action happening for anyone who, you know, for the people that had gone down, for, you know, anybody else, you know, so just being careful the entire time.
Yeah.
The entire time.
There are areas where it's like, oh, we can tell we're getting closer to the top. Like you start to see these individual slots now that were in the canyon the whole time, but we didn't necessarily know about because we had come down one route and we were just hiking down that way. And so we're like, oh, look at all these other pathways.
Yes. And like on our way back up, like we were like, oh, okay, there are all these other slots. Mm-hmm. Luckily, what was great was that we could still see one of the hikers from the other group.
Right.
So we just kept our eyes on her as we were, you know, going up.
Yeah. There was a point too where as we're getting closer to like where the slots are starting to like wall off and you have to kind of pick a way to go, we made our choice, which seemed like the smartest choice to make. And we're starting to get to bigger boulders. I remember right as we were at this point, we were coming over a very large boulder, like that we had to climb up like from a smaller point and then like continue to work our way over. And it's at this point that we catch up with that other hiker.
Finally, yeah. So finally we're like...
Which is like, oh, this is strange.
Yeah. We were like, okay, well, she, you know, is taking her time and we finally made it. We were like, oh, okay, great. And so we make it up to her and we were like, oh, hey, we saw that, you know, you were behind your group, but we kept our eyes on you because, you know, so we could see where to go.
And she turned to us and she said, oh, well, I actually don't know where to go.
Yeah, she said, I'm lost.
Yeah.
Which in that moment meant we were lost. And that was probably the most devastating thing I heard that day.
Other than my rendition of Dancing Queen in the shower that morning.
No, I always enjoy that.
Yeah.
But yeah, with that, let's take our second break. Ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in between, please welcome to the stage
Mirror Image.
All right. So who is Mirror Image? I want to just start by saying,
I like that you asked the question and are automatically answering it.
well,
Thank you
I
for
just
throwing it to
want
me.
us to say, like, the easy choice here would be that she is the queen who uses mirrors.
Oh.
But I want us to go beyond that.
Oh, well, I immediately thought of the episode of Difficult People when Matthew takes on Marilyn's persona.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he mirrors her.
Interesting.
Which it's a gift of a show, folks. If you've never watched Difficult People, is great.
See, I was thinking, right, that Mirror Image, like whenever, like she's a drag queen, that so like, you know how there is baked into the nature of drag that it is inherently political. No matter what, drag is going to be inherently political because it is turning something that is established on its head and making fun of it, right? So I feel like Mirror Image is the queen that never looks the same because when she appears, it's like she is in a look that is holding up the mirror to society. Like,
I see.
look at what's happening. This is what we should all be thinking about or looking at.
I actually
So
like that better than mine.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
Okay, what was
holding
your
up the
thinking?
mirror to society?
Literally.
No, mine was like it was a double act that, Mirror Image is actually a set of twins that
I
Mirror is
see.
Mira and Myra Image.
That could work too.
Right. But I do like holding the mirror up to society.
I like that. I just think it's fun to sort of like.
I think there's a lot you can do with that.
It would always be funny.
It would be very topical.
Be very topical.
Right.
Like every
She would
single
have
time.
all the looks too, because
all the looks.
just think about everything that's happening with all these like rampant forest fires,
And
environmentalism.
see, this is okay. So I mentioned this to you like yesterday when we were talking. Like I watched the Tina Fey interview with Oprah. Right. And Tina Fey was saying like it's really hard to be a comedy writer like now when in regards to politics, because like you can't just be mad, you have to also make it funny.
Yeah.
So I feel like Mirror Image would be someone who would always find a way to go beyond just being mad about it, but also to make it funny. It would take a lot of work to conceptualize.
She would have a team.
Looks. She would have to have a team.
Right.
She would have to have a team, but I think she would be stellar.
Yeah. What song would she sing?
Oh, what I mean, I don't know.
Would it depends?
It would all depend.
I feel like
It
there
would
would have
depend.
to be like some sort of standard bearer that maybe she busts out all the time though.
Maybe
she sings "We Didn't Start the Fire" by Billy Joel.
Really?
Because that, if nothing else, is a song about the craziness of this world.
Maybe that.
It's not a great drag queen song by any means.
I was thinking "Wake Up" by Alanis. That's also an option. But yes,
I feel like she could like do a kick-ass like modernized version of "We Didn't Start the Fire."
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that. Maybe she sings it live.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe so.
It's not a lip sync for her life.
I think it's a live number.
It's a lip sync for the planet's life.
Exactly.
There we go.
And with that, ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in between, please welcome to the stage
Mirror Image.
So we're lost.
Yeah.
We are lost.
I don't think the panic set in for me initially, but I was like, we're going to be okay.
Well,
it's going to be fine.
Pissed off is what I felt.
Yeah.
I felt a little pissed off because I was like,
It's better
I
than
had
pissed
such a big head about like, how could anyone get lost on this? It's so easy, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And because we were essentially like getting toward the part that would have been what we're calling flat rock.
Right.
We're nearing that part of it.
Yeah.
So
we're so close.
Fairly close
and we're
to
like
the top.
excited to be done.
And we're excited to be done.
And go to the spa.
And go to the damn spa, right? And so we're lost. At that moment, I was like, okay, well, what
do we do?
What do we do? And so immediately we both thought we must have gone up the wrong slot.
Right.
And so we were like, maybe we need to get over to this slot.
Right.
So we sit and chat and we're like, okay, what do we do? And she tells us, she's like, well, my friends told me if I'm not back by 3:00, then they're going to come down and they're going to find me.
Right.
And at this point, it was around like 1:30. And so 3 o'clock was like an hour and a half away.
Yeah.
But if we knew which direction we were headed, it would probably only take us about 20 minutes.
Right.
So we had to figure out which way to go.
Yeah.
And so what did we...
Well, there was nothing appealing about climbing because we were firmly up one of the slots right now.
We were firmly up a slot. And
there was nothing...
If we had to go up that way, that doesn't look right.
Oh, no.
Or if we went up this way, that doesn't look right. Or if we went up this way, it doesn't look right.
But there was also nothing appealing about, we're going to have to go down around this fin of this slot. And then go around to make sure that this is right and not right. So what I ended up doing, because there was a lot of waffling that was happening on what to do, I was like, okay, decisive action. And I was like, I'm going to climb up that wall right there. And I'm going to take a look and just scout and see.
So the three of us decided that it was probably best to stay together. Because essentially... her friends are our insurance policy for getting out of this canyon.
Yeah.
If they're coming down to find her, then we should all stay together so they can find all of us. But yeah, there was a lot of waffling as to try and figure out what to do.
Right.
And I wasn't very helpful at this moment.
No.
None of us were very helpful at this moment.
I was like, I'll put the big boy pants on.
It was a matter of like, we all just really wanted to finish.
And we were tired.
And we were really
exhausted
tired.
At this point. Yeah.
And, you know, being lost brings up a lot of emotions. And so I kind of honestly was like, I'm going to back up here. I could easily take over, but I'm going to back up because like, I just didn't want to like get to a place where I was like upset or mad. And I wasn't yet. So you very kindly took the reins.
Which is not usual for me. I feel like in a situation
you're the one
like
who's like frantic and I'm the one who's grounded.
I know.
And
I was like, we reversed role. We did a Freaky Friday.
We did.
You were Lindsay and I was Jamie Lee.
Sure.
Yeah. Always Jamie Lee. So yeah, I climbed up a wall basically that was in the slot that we were in. I definitely put my hands right into a cactus, which was not fun at all.
None of it was fun.
None of it was
fun. But it did involve like you had to go down a little bit and then go up and over and then over to the fin.
Yeah, it wasn't great. And we were looking at it when I got there and I was like, I know we definitely didn't come down this way.
This is not what we did.
This is not what we did. And the entire time that I'm like scrambling over things, I'm thinking, God damn, like that park ranger was like, be careful because sometimes people get lost on the way down.
The thing
is like nobody turns around and like looks at what they did. No one takes photographs.
And we had not done that either. Like we were looking at photos that we had taken that were looking down,
we tried to piece things together.
And it just was not. So advice, if you're doing Tomichi Point or any of these, like walk 10 feet, turn around and look, take photographs.
Right.
Do this the entire time.
Yeah. And I don't think it was like by any means us like ignoring advice. I think we were just like in the moment. And the first few steps like past flat rock are just treachery in general. So the idea of turning and taking a photo is like the last thing on your mind.
Right.
Because you kept your phone most of the time pretty bundled up.
In the bag. And
I was just like, whatever this device, I'll just take photos on and pray to the Lord above. So I worked my way back down to you guys. You were kind of on like a flattish area.
And I like, while we were climbing, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to stop and see if it's worth it. Because it was like a lot of like, I found myself in like the middle of briars, in the middle of a lot of stuff. And I just was like, you know what? It's not worth climbing over this fin if it's not going to lead us anywhere.
I think I was a little ticked at this point, having like put my hand in a cactus and was like, well, I'm the only one that's doing anything right now to try to like fix this situation. So when I got back to the two of you, I was like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go up the way. Like we're going to look at these trees because we started in trees.
Do you see this tone you're taking right now?
This was the tone you had. The same tone because I was
like
real mad at
angry
this point.
Mother.
Yes,
you were.
I was like, you mean to tell me that you went out and you didn't tell me where you were going to be and you were past curfew? Now your ass is mine.
Yes. Yeah, and that your phone died?
And your phone died?
I don't believe any of that
nonsense. You were playing Snake on your phone and that's why it died.
I know that you were out there smoking your cigarettes.
Right. Exactly. So I was like, listen, we came down through the trees. We are in a canyon right now. We're in a slot of the canyon. There are trees right above us. The worst thing that happens is that we climb up and hit a different point, and we have to find the road, which is going to be close to the rim of the canyon anyway, and we walk along the road. I was like, this is what we're going to do. And I think that was like the thing that spurred us all to action was
literally,
like,
you were
just me being like, let's pull it together, girls, and let's go.
Let's pull up our bootstraps, girls. Ain't none of you leaving.
It's bad.
We're doing this together.
It's bad because I definitely thought that. I was literally going to say it. You had me dead.
Yeah. So we had spent the better part of an hour
definitely
trying to figure out where to go. And until we finally found ourselves literally exactly back in the spot we were when we all discussed that we were lost.
Right.
And then you were like, this looks like something that we could do right now.
Right.
And I was like, well, this is it. I mean, essentially now we're like in a canyon. Like the game now is you're in a canyon.
It's pick a slot.
It's pick something that can get you like just a few inches higher than you were a moment ago. Like, see what you can do.
Right.
And so we pick this direction, right? And we start heading up, and she was in front of us, and she was very slow. I remember she would take her time to put her foot on the foothold, and then take a minute to like find a place for her hand, and then she would climb her way up to the next one. And I remember I was sitting there thinking, and I was like, she's in the lead right now, and I don't want to be that person that's just like barrels on ahead, right? And for a minute, I found that to be a little like, it was like the same tedium I was feeling earlier.
Right.
But then about 5 minutes into that, I found myself to be very grateful for her speed.
Right.
Because her setting that pace allowed my sort of like anxiety to like just wash out. And so I was like, all right, 3 of us are here together.
Right.
I'm not going to let, like, setting the pace that slowly made sure that my anxiety wasn't leading, you know?
Yeah.
And so like, I was really grateful to her in that moment that she was leading. We make our way over this ledge essentially. And then we're in this like narrow sort of part
that looks like it had been like washed out basically, with
and
like roots everywhere.
There's
and,
some rock, but like we're putting our feet into roots.
Yeah.
She turned and was like, I'm not exactly sure where to go next. And
I was like,
so
Zoom, excuse me.
I think I did that, right? I was the one who was like, all right, I'm going to go up there and see what that's like. And then I was like, okay, I think this. And then we all followed.
Yeah.
And then we all like, there was this other part we really had to like hoist each other up through and over this like smaller ledge until we finally found what seemed to be flat.
Right.
And like we could kind of above see the edge of the canyon. And at this point we were like, we don't know where we're going right now, but we know that we're getting close to the top.
Right.
Praise. So,
and here we're in a lot of trees too.
And now the trees have returned,
and we're
so
like, this is starting to feel sort of familiar.
Yeah. And essentially, what happened was we landed right back at the end of the top of the tree ramble.
Yeah.
Where the tree ramble becomes flat rock, right? Like if you're standing looking down, you have to sort of like go over to the left to get on the flat rock to start heading down. Mm-hmm. And we had come up on the right.
Right.
And we'd come up to through this part where like we didn't go down. We would have never gone down that area. Yeah. It doesn't look like an area you would do that to. Yeah. Essentially, we were right the whole time.
Right.
We weren't really that lost.
No.
To begin with.
I think we were thrown because we thought we were lost.
We know what I mean?
The power of persuasion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not that she was
No,
persuading
not that
us,
she was persuading us, but
but
that we were told like, hey, I'm lost. So
but
then it was
also
like,
things
oh,
did look
we're
unfamiliar
lost. Yeah.
at that place.
Yeah. There's no blame that I'm throwing here. I'm just saying
No.
Yeah.
Except a canyon that is deceptive in
Right.
many, many places.
The blame I throw on us for not taking photos.
For not taking photos
Right.
and not listening
Yeah.
to the ranger and turning around and looking.
Yeah.
But we finally found the trail and we were like, oh God, yes.
Yeah.
And then that was
Then
the
there's
first
this-
time we were like, since the bottom, we're able to stand
Yeah.
and like walk along
Know that we're on
a trail.
solid things. Yeah.
And then we just made our way back up.
Right.
And we were able to make our way all the way to the parking lot. Oh my God, we made it. We finished.
After like almost 3 hours coming back up.
Yes. I'm currently, I just need to talk about how my body feels.
Tell me how your body feels.
My forearms are like titanium right now. Like you could punch my forearm and break your hand.
Yeah. Well, my ass feels that way right now.
Oh, seriously. Like just all of the climbing. God, that was a lot.
That was some scrambling.
That was some scrambling. I find it hilarious that like we had to scramble so much, and this morning we ate scrambled eggs.
Yep. It's just fittingly ironic.
Sure, yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah. A little too ironic. Oh, yes. How are you feeling?
I feel like everything in my body is tense, and I'm glad that we get to go to the spa and sit in some hot spring water.
Because, yeah, that's what we're going to do next. Because Karen told us to go to the hot spring spa. Yeah. Karen is the best. But yes, let's go to the hot spring spa.
Let's do it. So after reaching the top and, feeling like we were back to the land of the living,
right,
and like feeling safe again. Not that I felt super unsafe, but feeling like we were on solid ground. We were able to actually have a chat with our hiking friends and the rest of the hiking gal pals.
Of the gals, and they were so nice, and they were all nurses,
right,
who were from California.
Yes.
And they had been in a sleeper van like the whole way out or something like that.
They were doing a lot of parks though.
They were.
I forget what their road trip was like, but they were they had saved up a lot of time off, and they were all traveling together for a long time.
And I remember I was like, all four of you sleep in there? They're like, yeah, it's great. It's great. Which sleeper vans, I'm sure, is something we're going to do at some point.
Yeah.
So it was, we asked them some about that.
Yeah.
But they were so kind and the coolest.
Yeah.
And, thank God for them, or we could have been lost in that canyon for a long time.
For 24 hours.
For 24-hour rescue.
Speaking of that, we, after talking to them, got ourselves in the car and drove back to the visitor center and dropped off our self-permit. The visitor center was still open because it was like 3:30 at this point. And we had a brief chat with the ranger, and we're like, we just finished it. It was the same ranger that was on the desk in the morning. And he was like, how was it? And we were like, it was great, but we did the thing that you told us, not to do, which was, not look back, and we should have looked back like you said we should. He was like, oh, how was that for you? And we're like, well, we got lost for a little bit.
Well, we got lost and we learned our lesson.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
And that was the moment where I was like, and now our next stop is the spa.
Yeah.
Did we eat dinner?
We ate after.
We went to the spa and then we ate after.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we drove to the spa.
Yeah.
Which was like a 40-minute drive.
Yeah.
Right? So we were like, oh my God.
Through beautiful country.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Beautiful country. We drove to the spa. So we get to Orvis Spa.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a beautiful place.
Yeah, it's
full
like
of lots
complex,
of people.
yeah.
It's a complex. All of the hot springs are outside.
Yeah.
And
they have rooms. You can also camp there too.
Right.
They do massage.
It's great.
They do it all.
They do it all. And it was it's co-ed.
Yeah.
And I was like, I booked a massage and bought some CBD oil to have
a CBD oil massage.
To have a CBD oil massage.
And you inspired me to also treat myself to a massage.
You also got a massage.
Which was great. No CBD oil.
Yeah.
You did an hour, and I was able to squeeze a half hour in, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
It was so worth it.
Oh, it was incredibly worth it.
It was absolutely worth it.
And very natural. It was really nice. Like they had some private spa rooms that were in the building, and then they had a beautifully landscaped outside area that had these
and
just
that's
natural
where
pools.
The natural pools were, and they were all warm.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like a swimming pool. That's a natural pool, but it was warm.
Yeah.
And with a lot of, a lot of different kinds of people, all ages.
Right. Some clothes, some not.
Some clothes, some not.
Right. There are also yurts out there. That's where we got our massages.
Right. And they also had saunas.
Yep.
And so we dipped into those.
Yeah.
A lot of times on these trips, we just go and go and go and go and go
Yeah.
and try to get on the trails and hike as much as we can. And while we do often find ourselves with some amount of time that we could do some other kind of activity, we sometimes will elect to do something active. This time we felt like we had certainly earned the time to just relax.
It was great. And I think it gave us more of an insight into the fact that should be something we focus in on more as we travel and do these go and go and go. And you're out on the trail all day and you beat your body up and then do it again the next day. It was a nice way to just be just relax for this time.
Just relax and take a minute, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It was great. And then we followed that up with heading back into Montrose and going to Horsefly Brewery, which was what we had wanted to try on Sunday, but they were closed because it was Easter, which was a great brewery. We had a burger that was half bacon, half chopped meat.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's right.
The best sampler of their beer. It was so there was that spicy, was it a spicy strawberry? It was habanero strawberry. Oh, it was so good.
It was so good.
Yeah.
Montrose treated us well.
It's a place I would love to go back to. That part of Colorado was just so beautiful. And the canyon, I think it's one of the least visited national parks. It's not very highly visited. It's so beautiful. I would love to go back and do the North Rim and there's a ton of hiking over there too that just wasn't accessible to us on this trip. And I would love to see Karen again.
Now, I think I would be interested in also maybe doing another route that wasn't as steep as the Tomichi route.
Right.
So what has Black Canyon of the Gunnison taught you as you eat your granola bar?
To pay attention.
Why?
Because situational awareness in any park is a really good thing. But if you pay attention, you won't have any problems.
All right, let's put the Tomichi route on the Karen Stone scale.
Great. 10.
10.
10. 100% a 10.
Without a doubt a 10.
Yeah.
I would say the only other 10 we have ever given is Yosemite Falls.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And I would say these are equally as hard in different ways.
Oh, yeah.
Yosemite Falls is 3 miles straight up.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a mile down, a mile back up on Scree Rock.
Mm-hmm.
So
descending over 2,000
they are
feet
10s in different ways.
Yeah.
But 20 out of 20 Karen Stones.
For 2020.
For 2020.
In 2020.
Let's play some Jeopardy.
Great.
Shall we?
We shall.
All right. Do you want to hit me with your category first?
I do. My category is called Lost.
Oh.
It's all about people who've been lost in history.
Oh.
And by lost, I mean also dead.
Great. A category I thought about and didn't write.
Great.
But I did think
So
about
close.
a category about lost, things that are lost.
Great. Are you ready?
I'm so ready.
All right. Lost for 100. Instrumental in forming the 99s, an organization for female pilots, this intrepid pilot and her navigator disappeared in the Central Pacific while in an attempt to circumnavigate the globe.
Amelia Earhart.
Who is Amelia
Who is
Earhart?
Amelia Earhart?
That is correct. Lost for 200. Known for his exploration of Canada and North America, this explorer and captain was subject to a mutiny on his ship, the Discovery, and he, 7 of his crew, and his teenage son were set adrift on a small rowboat, never to be seen or heard from again.
Who is Henry Hudson?
That's correct. I did not know that.
Oh, I did. And here's why. Because I was working on a residency on the Age of Exploration for a group of students in a fourth grade at a school. The teachers said that there wasn't much about Henry Hudson in their book. And so I came back to them and I was like, well, let's talk about the very tragic end of Henry Hudson.
Seriously.
And that is true.
Yeah, it is true. All right, lost for 300. This Union man and president of the Teamsters is one of the most interesting of disappearances. Entangled with the mafia, he ultimately met his demise, but his body has never been recovered, leading to wild speculation, including the fact that he is buried below Giant Stadium.
Who is Jimmy Hoffa?
That is correct. Lost for 400. The leader of one of the best-selling big bands with hits like In the Mood and Moonlight Serenade, this instrumentalist decided in 1942 to join the war effort by heading up an Army Air Force band. Unfortunately, the plane that was carrying him from the UK to France in 1944 disappeared, leaving the world without his brassy sound.
Oh, I have no idea.
Who is Glenn Miller?
Oh, all right.
Well, now you know.
Great.
And lost for 500. I also don't know why I'm like breathy voiced right now. Lost for 500.
Breathy voiced.
This doozy of a case involves a hijacking of a plane between Portland and Seattle, a $200,000 ransom, and our hijacker parachuting out of the 727 he had hijacked in the first place. It's likely that he didn't survive this high-risk jump, but he definitely spawned a cult following because of it.
Oh
This
my
is
God.
a $500 question.
I
for
don't
sure.
know.
His name is D.B. Cooper.
Oh, I've heard of that name.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Things, people I should research.
Lost for 500. Yeah, that's an interesting story.
All
It's one to
right.
definitely look into. Good job.
Are you ready for mine?
I am ready for yours.
Mine is called Hidden Words.
Oh.
For example, so I have an example clue for you.
Oh, great.
Hidden inside this Western state is the word for the category that would include things like red, blue, or green.
What is Colorado?
And the word
color?
is color. Exactly. So all of these are state names.
Look at our word categories that we had.
I know.
With things inside of things.
Exactly. So
We like that.
you have to identify the word and the state name.
Great.
Okay, here we go. For 100.
Right.
Hidden inside of this Midwestern state is the term for the beer that is intentionally tart or acidic.
Is ghost the word?
Incorrect. But it would be a way to describe a ghost.
Is it sour?
Yes.
Why can't I think of the state? Missouri?
Yes.
What is Missouri?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
My
200.
brain, it hurts.
Hidden inside this southern state is the first name of the actress who was once the darling of the Hallmark Channel before her daughter tried to get into USC.
Oh my God. I know her name. Oh, I was going to say Aunt Becky, but it's Lori. Lori is the name.
Yes.
And it's a southern state. What is Florida?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Who is Lori? What is Florida?
Lori Laughlin?
Yeah.
Right.
I wanted to say Aunt Becky real bad.
Right.
Aunt Becky with the good hair.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
300.
Yeah.
Hidden inside this southern state is the term for what one must do when dismounting the uneven bars, or what some drag queens do on Saturday nights.
It's not Kiki, is it?
It is not Kiki. No, it's not.
What is show?
Incorrect. The word we were looking for was tuck.
Oh.
Inside of Kentucky.
Got it. Gotcha.
400.
I think they do it more than just Saturday nights.
400. Hidden inside the name of this small northeastern state is the verb that accurately describes what human beings are just trying to do with each other.
Is it live, laugh, and love?
It's not. No, it's not.
I don't know.
What is connect?
Oh, and Connecticut.
Connecticut.
Thomas Hooker.
Mm-hmm. 500.
Mm-hmm.
Hidden inside of this small northeastern state is a word that also means song.
Is the word aria?
Incorrect.
Oh, I don't know. I'm struggling here.
The word is ode.
Okay.
And it's inside of Rhode Island.
Yeah.
And that was hidden words.
Okay.
Inside of state names.
Inside of state names. I had a strong start and a weak finish.
That's
okay.
That's
It's okay.
This has been Gaze at the National Parks, the podcast, and we're here to remind you to hike early and hike often, and that adventure is always out there.
Gaze at the National Parks was created and is hosted by Dustin Ballard and Michael Ryan.
To see images from this episode, follow our Instagram at Gaze at the National Parks. To contact us, email us at gazeatthenationalparks@gmail.com. And to find out more about Black Canyon of the Gunnison and all the other parks we talk about on the show, gazeatthenationalparks.com.
All original artwork featured on our website and on Instagram is by Michael Ryan.
All original music is written by Dave Seaman and performed by Dave Seaman, Mariella Klinger, and Sean Sklios. Our music producer is Skylar Fortgang.
This episode was edited by Dustin Ballard. We would also like to acknowledge that while hiking in Black Canyon of the Gunnison National Park, that we were on the traditional lands of the Ute Indian tribe.